What is going on, guys? Skull Rider here. So I've been wanting to do a blind review for quite a long time, but I've never really been able to getting around to it because, well, if it's an interesting series, I usually get sucked into it way too quickly before I even have an idea that it would be cool to review episode by episode. But upon hearing about the anime adaptation of a generally well received shonen series, I thought, hey, now would be the perfect time to do one of these blind review analysis thingies. But that's not the only reason why I decided to review this series. And one reason as well because the anime is literally brand new. And well, yes, the manga has been out for a few years now. I've not seen or heard anything about it plot wise, so I literally have no idea what happens in this series. Another new release I was thinking about doing was Mob Psycho Season 3, but unfortunately I've tragically already read ahead in that series, so yeah, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of a blind review. But anyway, yeah, let's get into my first thoughts, impressions, and takeaways from Chainsaw Man, Episode 1, Dog and Chainsaw. And of course, there will be spoilers for this episode, so if you have not watched it already and plan to do so, I would advise clicking away now and coming back later. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you the only thing I really saw of the series before actually watching it, and that was I knew that there was some guy who could turn into this kind of humanoid chainsaw thing, and that there was a dog that also had chainsaw features on it. And I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't the most appealing thing to me. So I wasn't really sure what to make of that, as I imagine most people did. But after watching the first episode, I'm still not actually super intrigued by the idea. At least right now in the series, I can't see that many creative or unique usages of the whole chainsaw aspect thing, other than it just, well, tearing and slicing the enemy to shreds. But hey, if there's some other kind of power system that gets introduced into this series, and the man isn't only just using close range chainsaw attacks the whole time, then hey, I'm all for that. And not saying that won't happen, as, well, most shonen protagonists with seemingly boring and one trick pony powers get a huge creative and clever spin on their abilities. So I'm hoping to see that with Denji, with like his power and abilities, and hopefully some creative twists on how he can get stronger and get some sort of power ups. Now, not gonna lie, the devil slash demonic entities as the main forces of evil of the series were not very appealing to me, and that's frankly because a lot of the other main popular shonen series already have that. I mean, JJK and Demon Slayer are prime examples of this, but again, I'm really hoping and trusting in the series that they will put some kind of twists on these overused villains. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that up until this point I've just been saying that this series is generic and a lot like other shonen series, but there's actually a lot I liked about this first episode. For one, I did not see the twist with the mob boss accepting quite literally a deal from the devil, but it made perfect sense and just went to further show how cruel and cold hearted the world that Denji lives in is. Well, granted, we've really only seen the world from the view of Denji's perspective and haven't really gotten any world building at all, but from what we've seen so far, the area seems very run down and impoverished and definitely doesn't give off a great first impression. The series is also doing an excellent job at setting up feeling sympathy and attachment to the protagonist, as literally every situation Denji is in this series is not his fault at all. And the part of his backstory that's revealed just shows you how ruthless the Yakuza are. It did not matter to them how they were getting their funds back as long as they could give it back somehow, even at the cost of pretty much enslaving a child. So, yeah, if you somehow don't feel sympathy for Denji, then there's really something wrong with you. This man's never known what a normal life is, and his only goal and aspiration is to actually have one. Now, I'm extremely interested to see where Denji's dream will go and how it will develop as the series progresses, because at the end of the episode, Denji is about to join and work for another organization, and well, granted, they seem like a lot better people than the Yakuza, and they're actually fighting for a seemingly good cause. This certainly will not get Denji any closer to just settling down and living out a comfortable life. But I guess the one plus that he gets out of this is that he gets the chance to start a relationship with a girl, which may probably be the biggest thing he wanted out of anything else in his dream. which is likely the biggest thing he wanted out of anything else in his dream. So that's a win, but on the other hand, there's a lot of potential for heartbreak and possible betrayal. To add, another thing that I ended up liking about this episode more than I thought I would is the bond between Denji and Pochita. And well, yes, a mutual relationship between a protagonist and some kind of animal character is a very stereotypical plot device. There was one big thing about this one that I liked. Pochita, at the end of the day, mainly just served as a tool for Denji, and well, there is certainly still affection in the relationship. Denji was certainly more fixated on paying off his debt and devil hunting. The reason I say this is because at the moment Pochita resurrects Denji, part of Denji seems to realize that he should have appreciated the time he had with Pochita more, instead of always looking into the future. And well, yes, he quite literally had nothing, and looking into the future could really generate the only hope he could have. He still had Pochita, and despite his companion being the only thing to keep him going and alive, he never really took the time to appreciate that, and to be in the moment with him. The realization of Denji and the transformation sequence was definitely my favorite part of the episode, not only because it was extremely satisfying to see the devil-possessed mafia get beat and to see Denji free from his burden, but also because it was, in a way, Denji finally being satisfied with what he had, the one and only thing he had, and just how powerful it could really be. It just gave me the impression that, yes, well, it is extremely important to dream big and think about the future. You shouldn't be all caught up in it. You should always have a foundation in the present and recognize and be grateful for the friends and gifts you already have that may not seem like much. And in fact, just taking the time to do that will probably make you an overall better person and will help you get closer to achieving your goals in some way that just planning and preparing for the future never could. But yeah, overall this episode gave me a great first impression of the series, and I'm excited that I'm finally taking up this whole blind review thing, as I've enjoyed a lot of other YouTubers that have done this with other series. I'd love to make these videos longer and more in depth, but life and school are requiring a lot of my time right now, so I'm just glad that I'm able to make some kind of content for you guys. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this analysis in this episode in the comments, and I will see you all in episode 2.